Now, when you're dealing with the 9 chakras, because they left out 2 chakras, the 2 chakras are located in your legs. Well, one's in your legs, the other one's on your sole of your feet. So that's when they say the sole of the feet. So when you're dealing with the seven chakras, the 2 chakras was left out for a reason, because they knew that you can tap into the 22 chakras. So that's why they left out the other 2 chakras. The other 2 chakras equals the 9. Now, when you're dealing with this 3-dimensional realm, everything moves at 3, 6, and 9. Everything moves in this 3-dimensional realm at 3, 6, and 9. So the 2 chakras that they left out, they did that for a reason. That's why when you're dealing with Google, Siri, and Alexa, and you go on there, the information that you're seeking on there is always not going to be 100%. It's always going to be 80, 90, 95%. It's not going to be 100%, because the whole goal is to keep you in that hamster wheel, a mental hamster wheel. That's the goal. So you got the 7 chakras. It deals with the crown, and then it goes down to your bottom, which is your trying to find the right word. What goes down to your bottom. So when you're sitting down and you're meditating, and you notice that you're sitting down when you're meditating. The reason why they have you sitting down is because when you stand upright, then you'll be able to activate the other 2 chakras. The other 2 chakras. Okay, when you look at your leg, what's in your leg? What's in your legs? Your legs has the 2 biggest arteries to pump what? To pump your blood through your body, dealing with the plasma. So when meditation can be okay, when you sit, this is the thing when you're doing meditation. When you're sitting down, you also have to stand up and do your meditation also. So it's both. It's a both energy process. So you also have to stand up and do your meditation to activate the other 2 chakras. The bottom chakra, the real bottom chakra, is the sole of your feet, dealing with the soul. That's why they call it the sole of your feet. Because when you're walking on this planet, in this 3-dimensional realm, there's electrodes, electrons, plasma, fusion that's in the Earth's core. So that's why they have you sitting down when you meditate with the 7 chakras. They left out the other 2 chakras, like I said, because everything in this 3-dimensional realm, 3, 6, and 9, numerology, the number code. The number code. So once you tap into your 9 chakras, then there's 22 chakras. If you add up 22 and 9, what do you get? You get 13. 13. 1 plus 3 is what? 4. What is that? The 4th dimension. To keep you away from the 4th dimension, because everything that you see around you is a deflection factor. Because once you tap into these higher sources, and once you tap into something that's greater on a mental and also soulful level, then you will see what's going on without even looking for it. You will actually see what's going on without even looking for it. That simple. That simple. So the 9 chakras, right? You got the 9 chakras, and then in order to unlock, you have to activate the 22 chakras, which is the other upper dimensions, right? Because when you got the 9 chakras, and then you have the 22 chakras total, that equals the 13 when you're dealing with 13 billion years. That is the reason why they pushed the 7 chakras. Well, mankind pushed the 7 chakras and not the other 2 chakras, because, like I said, the eighth chakra is in your legs, dealing with I forgot what that artery is called, dealing with the biggest artery that pumps your blood through your body system, right? And then you have the ninth chakra is the bottom of your feet, which is your soul. That's dealing with the solar intelligence. So when you meditate and you're in the yoga position, right? Balance it out. And then when you meditate in the yoga position, you stand up and you meditate in that same, not that same position, but you meditate for the same amount of time because it's a balance of the universe. And then you stand up and you meditate also. You just don't meditate sitting down, because what you're doing is you're sending all your energy to the earth's core, but then you have to stand up and send the energy also out into the atmosphere, the universe. You have to do both, because once you do both, then you start unlocking that DNA that's been encoded in you that hasn't been activated. Because I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the chakras and I'm like, seven is an unbalanced number when you're dealing with the universe. That's why they push the 7 in religion, because they know it's unbalanced, dealing with these doctrines and these texts. Some of them, not all of them, but you understand what I'm saying when it comes with the 7, because they say 7 is a lucky number theoretically, but how is it a lucky number when you're dealing with power? When you're dealing with power and you're dealing with the 6, the 3, the 6, and the 9. So that's why you see all these people that's in power right now. They're hitting up the 6. They're hitting up, these codes by the way of the hand signals. They're hitting up all these codes because they know the power of the 3, the 6, and the 9. That's why when they push this, all this stuff has been all this stuff is old. All this stuff is old from dealing with a lot of stuff came out of Egypt and dealing with the Greco-Roman priests, Rome, and all that stuff that took all the information. And then why would they push the power information to the mass majority of people? Why would they push that to the regular society? So when you're dealing with man, people messaging me anyway, but when you're dealing with the 7, anything on a massive scale, right? Anything on a massive scale that's being pushed is questionable. Anything on a massive scale, you have to question it, because it's being pushed for a reason. It's just not randomly just being pushed. It's being pushed for a reason, and it's been pushed for the last 6,000 to 3,000 years. Because you always got to remember, man, everything deals with 3, 6, and 9, dealing with this 3-dimensional realm. When you stand upright and meditate, it's a balance of the universe. When you stand upright, and what you're doing is you're trying to get a peace of mind, but also you want to receive something that's next, something that can move you forward into the future. And looking at this prism, aka prison, in a different light form. And to the ones that follow me, they know that, like, I notice I haven't been talking about the races. I haven't been talking about the black race, the white race, the Asian race, and because all that stuff is irrelevant. That is me evolving. That is my evolvement. That's me evolving right now. Because all those topics, if you look at my old videos, I was talking about, all the other races and stuff. But then when I was sitting here thinking, I was in deep meditation, and I was sitting here thinking, and I'm like, man, it's way deeper than that. There's more to the universe than just that. So dealing with the 9 chakras. Yeah, they left out 2 chakras for a reason. See, they always do stuff like this because they don't want you to tap in. They don't want you to be on a quantum level, dealing with quantum physics, the electrons, protons, neutrons, fusion, plasma, and moving mentally forward. And see, man, that's the reason why mankind, they always push everything, all old stuff. They're always going to push something old while they're looking for stuff that's futuristic. That's what they do, man. That's the little trick that they do, dealing with their witchcraft and everything else. They're always going to push something old. I'm gonna give you an example. See, now when you listen to hip hop, you know, on the radio and whatnot, and then you hear you hear new lyrics with an old beat. See, they do that for a reason. When you hear new lyrics with an old beat to it, they do that for a reason, because they want your mind to be in a loop process. So they do that for a reason. So then I'm gonna give you an example. So say like you got a producer or a beat that is old, it's from the 90s, but they resurrected it with new lyrics and a new artist, right? So they resurrected it. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen? The child is going to listen to it, right? And then the child's going to be like, the child's either going to like the music or not really like the music. But if they do, then what their parent going to say? Their parent's going to be like, oh man, that beat came out in the 90s. I used to listen to that track back in the 90s. And they're going to be like, oh, you know, the child's going to be like, oh, okay. And then they're going to go backwards and listen to that same track and be like, oh, okay. The whole point I'm making is that's the tricks they play. They play the past. They want you to live in the past. So when I hear these beats and I see these beats and you know, these old beats, and then you got these old beats with these new people, these new artists on it, all that stuff is orchestrated, straight orchestrated. It just didn't happen randomly. You know what I'm saying? Especially the ones that's on the radio. When you're dealing with the radio, the raw, D, zero, radio, the raw, which is the raw frequency. What is that? That's the plasma, the sun frequency. I broke down in a couple videos with the radio. That's why when you got we got all these O's behind these words, right? Studio. You got studio, right? School, loop. There's two zeros in the word loop. Keep you in that 8. Keep you in that hamster wheel. What's another word with that in it? I think I said school too. School. Anytime you see these words and you see them two O's in it, then you know that's an agenda. Trying to think of another one. Well, you see what I'm saying. Because once you start listening to activation, then you'll start seeing this world like off that movie, They Live. Especially if you're a young brother or sister out here and, you know, you have some type of Akashic records coming back to you, go check out that movie, They Live. It's an old movie, but that movie has a lot of scenes in it where you can mega stand what's going on right now in this 3-dimensional realm. Going back to the 9 chakras, dealing with the 9 chakras, right? The 9, and then you have the 22 chakras, which is the upper dimension, mind activation, going into ascension quicker and leaving this 3-dimensional realm, dealing with the whole 22 chakras. So when you add up the 22 and the 9, you get 13. You get 13 for a reason. So that's why they left out the 2 chakras, because they always wanted you earthbound. They always wanted you to be on this crust of the planet. So that's why when you go on Google and you saw that a lot of, even before Google was out, even before Google, Siri, and Alexa was out, they already had pushed you sitting on the ground and staying earthbound. Now, if you look at these, if you go on it, because it's not a secret no more, you go on the internet and you look at these people that's running the planet right now, and then you look at, you know, their ceremonies. Are they sitting down? Are they sitting down? Or are they standing up, upright? They're standing upright for a reason. Go on. If you go and look at a lot of these secret ceremonies, right? A lot of these ceremonies, what they're doing, they're standing upright. They're not sitting down, because this agenda is been here before the internet came out, before the Ethernet came out. This agenda been here already, dealing with the 9 chakras, because the 9 chakras equals the galactical code system. So the other 2 chakras, like I said, is the bottom of your feet, which is the soul, and then your legs, your thighs. Well, not your thighs. I forgot what that part of the body's called, but your leg that holds the biggest artery. That's a chakra, because that artery plays a factor for your whole body to survive. So why wouldn't they label that as a chakra? Because they didn't want you to stand upright. They wanted you to be crust bound. They wanted you to be on the crust of the planet. They wanted you to stay here. So when I do these videos, I come with intel. I don't come with information. Come with intel. And then you got some cats out here, they're going to be like, well, I can't Google this. I can't go on Google and find it. Some of the stuff that is intel, you can go on Google and find it. You just got to look for it. Some of that stuff's not being pushed. It's being buried. That's where the term library comes from. And I was breaking down the term library because that's where the lies are buried. You're going to find truth in the libraries, and you're going to find lies in the library. That's why it's called a library, because that's where the lies are buried. Then I had some brother, he was like, well, the library's not spelt this way. It's spelt the other way. Because their mind, the thing about that is, like, I don't even get intrigued by certain ignorant comments no more. Because I understand that their mind is still in preschool. Preschool, or they might be in kindergarten. They might be in the 3rd, 4th, 5th grade mentally. So when that brother had said that library, that berry's not spelt the same way as library, that berry spelt different. Didn't even see the bigger picture of the intel that I was bringing. Didn't even see it. Went right over his head. That's why that's why my videos, man, I'm not talking about the black race no more. I'm not talking about the white race no more, because it's irrelevant, because majority of them are not in the future. So why even put your energy into that? When you put your energy into stuff like that, what happens? Right? You start feeding their organic atmosphere with your energy. That's why I stopped doing that, man. If you look at my last couple of videos, I ain't said nothing about the black race or the white race no more. Because it's an evolvement process. Either you're going to evolve or not. Then I had another brother yesterday, like, where you getting all this intelligence from? This and that, going back and forth. I don't go back and forth. The only time I go back and forth is when I'm sleeping. I'm going to the 4th dimension and back here. That's what the term back and forth comes from. Going to the 4th dimension and coming back here. That was a term that our ancestors used back in the day, because they knew they was tapped into the upper dimensions, and they knew the 4th dimension was the closest one to going up to the upper dimension. So that's why the term, where you get the term back and forth from. Going back and forth with nobody on the internet. I don't even know. The brother looked like he was like maybe 22. I'm almost 42 years old. That's what I'm saying. Respect your elders, even if you don't agree with them. All up on my news feed talking about this and talking about that. I said, man, call me. Call me. I don't go back and forth. Till you can come with some intel or bring something next to the planet to move forward, don't even be on my news feed or nothing and comment on anything, because you're dealing with powers you have no idea about. It's just like that. Did I get a phone call? Nope. Anyway, dealing with the 9 chakras. Standing upright, you do both. You sit down, you meditate, then you stand upright, you meditate, because that's a balance. The universe is about balance. Straightforward. That's why everything that you see around you is a quantum deflection mechanism. I'm going to repeat myself. Everything that you see around you is a quantum deflection mechanism. I'm going to give you an example dealing with the upper dimensions. When you have to start, you have to go in order, in sequence, as above, so below. So when you're in line, if you're in line and you're waiting in line and you got 2 people ahead of you, right? That person has to go, then the person in front of you has to go, and then you go. It's the same thing dealing with these dimensions. And you got people pushing the 5th dimension because they go on Google. The reason why they push the 5th dimension, they go on Google, they Google something, and which they have good intentions. They have extended attentions. What I'm saying is that's the power of Google, Siri, and Alexa. See, they steer you away, and while you focus on the 5th dimension, meanwhile, over in the deep seas, the planet's still being run by parasites. While you focus on the 5, they already tapped into the 4. And that's considered a quantum realm deflection mechanism. See, because they don't want nobody going through no portal. Because look at the planet the way it is right now. A lot of them that have these secret texts and these secret archives, they know that they're not worthy of going through the portal. So what they do, they cause war, famine in some countries, experiments in some countries, because they know the power of the quantum realm. Dealing with internal and infinity. The power of the past. Everything always been about the futuristic mind power, the junk DNA, electrodes, electrons, fusion, plasma. It's always been that since the beginning of the solar system, since the beginning of the universe. Being tapped in, being connected by what? How are you going to get connected? By electricity. The mental connection I have with some other people on the planet, and also some of these teachers, there's a mental connection that dealing with the mind being extended and going and moving faster. I have a mental connection with a lot of people on this planet that I'm gonna give you an example. I might think of something, have a thought, and then I see a teacher start teaching about it. That's because the mental connection of this plasma is starting to evolve the planet even quicker. That's breaking down the 9 chakras, dealing with the quantum deflection, the 9 chakras and the quantum deflection, right? Because the 7 chakras is a quantum deflection. That's why, like I said, being crust of the earth, being crust bound, meditating, and then also standing upright, meditate. Because the people that's in power, they stand upright. When they do their thing, they really don't they don't sit down. So you have to do both to tap in to these upper dimensions, this higher energy, and also dealing with the quantum deflection. It's the activated new bright 10, the futuritarian. Peace, Quasar. If you like the way the world is, don't like, don't share, don't subscribe. But if you want it to alter, you know what to do. Peace.